What, you mean a string of nonsensical emojis? Fire, sword, donut, spaceman, clock, dancing lady, flashlight, thumbs up. How am I supposed to know what that means?
I ignited the flaming sword, used it to cut a hole in space and time. Mum's light flooded through it, then it closed up behind her. All good.
Oswald, my friend!
Bruce Wayne, what a lovely surprise. You certainly are getting out quite a lot these days, aren't you?
The way I see it, everyone else in this town is having fun. Why shouldn't I?
I agree. You and your insanely large bank account are more than welcome here.
We're gonna need your shrink ray, Ray.
I'm not particularly fond of that name.
Hey, some Justice League pop today.
Yep. In honor of the Justice League movie, which I finally saw yesterday.
Awesome.
That breaking out the Flash and Cyborg figures there.
And
Cyborg's like the original DC Universe version, but
the Flash definitely from.
Yeah, definitely from Justice League. So yeah.
He's got all the black markings.
He's got all this stupid armor plating that he doesn't need and wires and crap.
He's got the Iron Man.
Yeah, it's Iron Flash.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, hey everybody, welcome to Fandom Zone.
Welcome to the Fandom Zone, where we start every episode talking about nonsensical,
stupid toys.
Yep. This is episode 122 of the Fandom Zone. I can't believe we've done 122 of these.
I know. You have my condolences.
No, these are great. I love doing these.
I hope so, considering we've done 122 of them.
I know, right? Where we are going to do 122A and 122B because
yes,
we have a lot of shows to cover.
So many shows.
All the shows.
Hashtag so many shows. And of course, this is for the week ending November 18th, 2017.
Correct. We are going to be talking about The Walking Dead, episode 4 of season 8, The Gifted, episode 7 of season 1, Lucifer, season 3, episode 7, Supergirl, season 3, episode 6, The Flash, season 5, episode 6. That's all in the A portion of the show.
So much show.
Right? And then the B portion, it will be Legends of Tomorrow 306, Arrow 606, Gotham 409, and The Punisher 101.
Yes, the premiere of The Punisher. We're saving the best for last.
That's right.
But, so, that's 9 shows, you guys. 9.
Right? 9. And look,
9 shows.
Program. Right?
9 times. What?
You get your money's worth with this program.
Well, yeah, because it's free. So damn well better get it for...
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. If you guys want to pay us, that's cool. We're good with that.
Exactly. Buy the T-shirts.
We could, buy the T-shirts. We set up a Kickstarter or something. I don't know, but...
No, they can buy the T-shirts.
Okay.
There's also a Amazon link that got sent out in an email.
Yeah, because apparently we're whoring now.
That's right. But you can buy stuff.
So we're not spam because I'm sure everybody's gonna think we're spam now.
No, everybody signed up for that. If they signed up for it, they get it.
Okay.
If you're buying stuff for the holidays, it costs the same. We just get a little money on top of that.
Right.
So anyway, and here we go already.
What is this bizarre segue that?
Thank you, Blaine. That's like a new record, I think, for us.
No, it's not a new record.
Okay.
I think I did it sooner than that.
Okay. All right, so let's dive right in. Walking Dead.
Walking Dead, 804, Some Guy.
Some Guy, written by David Leslie Johnson, directed by Dan Liu.
Mm-hmm.
And what's our aviancy, Karen, if you would, please?
The Emperor's New Woes. Oh.
Yes.
Sorry about that. The second story is... Outlaw Country!
She was a little quiet.
Yeah, well...
Charlene was a little quiet.
I didn't want to
blast it. You don't want to blast my ear holes. There you go. There you
How's
go.
that?
That works. All right. So, Outlaw Country. Woo!
Yep. That's the second storyline. And then the C story is the real saviors.
Right.
Because there were a few real saviors in this episode.
Yes. Unfortunately, one needed to be saved and wasn't in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
So, rest in peace, Shiva.
Yeah. Exactly. Although, for those of us that read the comics,
We knew it was coming.
yeah, we know it was coming.
And of course, they get to save their CGI budget.
That's right. It happened faithfully to the comics. It was pretty much how it...
And I like the way they shot that because they didn't show Shiva getting mauled.
Yeah.
So they just showed her getting surrounded so that she was swarmed over, and then you just saw them munching down, but you didn't see them on what.
Right.
Shiva fared better than the horses do on The Walking Dead. Let's put it that way.
Right. And then you saw the people's reactions. And
Yeah, because if Shiva would have gotten the horse treatment, there would have been all kinds of outrage, I think.
Yeah. Yes. There was already a lot of people very upset.
Animals do not do well in The Walking Dead. Let's just put it that way.
People die every day on this show. I mean, Aaron lost his partner, Eric.
Right. Nobody bats an eye, but, you kill the tiger, look out.
There were people that were sad for Eric, but there wasn't an uproar because people die.
Right.
But Shiva dies, and oh no.
And people lose their damn minds.
Right.
You break out that Joker meme from The Dark Knight, like...
Saviors, of course, Shiva. Jerry's axe,
Yep.
R.I.P.
I'm pouring one for Jerry's axe.
Yep. Jerry's poor axe. He tried to use it as a lever to open up the gate, and it broke in half.
Battle axe, no!
Right. And Carol, who managed to save Jerry and Ezekiel from, number 1, the zombies, number 2, Gunther, number 3, the saviors.
So being a World of Warcraft geek, did seeing Jerry's battle axe get destroyed bother you?
A little bit.
A little bit?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, we can't... Okay. You brought it up.
Yes.
I blame you for this.
Okay. Because
can...
the World of Warcraft rant, I feel it coming.
No, it'll be short.
Okay.
We can lose durability on our items.
Yes.
And they technically break when they get to 0. But then we repair them and we get them back. But we technically never lose them unless we sell them or drop them or whatever.
Okay. So you can still have like a really crappy battle axe that's 0.
Right. Well, it won't do anything.
Right.
You can't.
It just shows in the inventory or whatever as
it's
there.
Equipped.
Yeah.
But it's essentially like you're punching people with your fists.
Okay.
If it's at 0 durability. Nothing ever gets to 0 durability on me. I go and repair. I actually have a yak that I ride.
Yeah.
If you mount on it, it has a repair.
Why are you mounting the yak? What did the yak ever do to you?
No, it has a saddle.
Okay.
On the side of the saddle, there's a little repair guy. And on the other side is a transmogrifier where you can change your outfit.
Phrasing?
Yeah, thank you. So I pull him out if my durability goes down, and I just repair all my stuff, and then I get down and I can fight more. So anyway, that's how you repair out in the field.
Okay.
If you have money, because it costs like 100,000 gold to get this thing, but I have money. So anyway.
And this has been your World of Warcraft Minute.
You brought it up.
Yes, I did. I own it. I will own that.
Thank you.
I will take responsibility for that. That's not on you. That's on me.
It bothered me that it broke. Because
I figured it would bother you.
It did. Because I love that he had that axe.
Because it was badass, that axe.
Cool axe.
Yeah. That's like it was his signature weapon.
It was.
Hopefully you get another one.
That he sliced Gunther in half with this.
Now, did he save the bladed part?
No.
Because I would think that if you save the bladed part, you could just mount it on another pole or something.
No, I don't think so. Because he had the sharpened end,
Oh, okay.
the end where
The pointy end.
right, the pointed stick.
Yeah.
He had that part, and he was, sticking it in zombies' heads when he and Ezekiel were fighting the zombies off there.
Got it.
But very soon thereafter, and we didn't see it, but Carol opened the gate because she had the keys.
Yes.
She opened the gate and let them in, and the zombies ended up attacking the saviors within instead of our heroes, our band of heroes there. And they got out and escaped. Of course, Ezekiel was injured.
Yeah, it was not looking good for Ezekiel there for a good while.
No, it wasn't. He
came close to biting it himself a couple times.
Several times.
Yeah.
He had his walking stick. He told them to go ahead once they get out into the jungle. There's this river of toxic sludge that he couldn't get through.
Yeah, so we had like Toxic Avenger walkers this week.
Yeah, we did. They were pretty.
I'm kind of disappointed that Chris Hardwick did not do a Toxic Avenger reset, or at least RoboCop.
Right. Something.
Yeah. Get off me, man! Get away from me, man!
Yeah. There should have been some mention of that, of some sort of mutated walkers.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Walkers.
Exactly. They have
Teenage Mutant Ninja Walkers.
They have a protective shell or something. But no, they were the
secret of the ooze.
They were different, and Ezekiel couldn't get through, and Shiva came and saved the day, of course, to her demise. Yep. And she ended up also being a savior in this episode. Now, to move on to the Emperor's New Woes here.
Right.
The episode starts with him flashing back to his speeches from the last episode.
Right. He's great. He's great at the speeches.
Yep. And
I smile.
His kingdom was very motivated.
Yep.
But they ended up not on the winning side in
well,
their.
Well, he led them out into the open where they could get like massacred by snipers.
Yeah, which is exactly what happened, unfortunately. And he ended up losing all of his men, all of them except for Jerry.
Right, Jerry.
Who was it? Patrick was also alive until he held him up and then boom.
Yep. He was basically carrying Ezekiel, and then all of a sudden, headshot. Done.
Right. Exactly. And that's when Gunther found Ezekiel.
Gunther, what a douche this guy was.
Hey, I called him Dwight of The Walking Dead. Yes. And I'm not talking about Dwight with the iron. I'm talking about Dwight from The Office.
Right.
Didn't he kind of look like
Dwight Schrute?
Right.
Yeah.
Dwight Schrute. I expected him to say, "Let's go get some beets," and walk them out of Galactica. But
you know who he reminded me more of?
Who?
Kip from Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't he look like Kip?
Yeah.
I know you hate that movie, but
yeah, I'm not a fan.
No,
but yeah,
doesn't he look like Kip from Napoleon Dynamite?
Brother, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, the older brother that's like
with the glasses, big round glasses.
He's like in love with that girl that he met over the internet.
Yeah, and he's got a 5 head, rocking the 5 head, and so yeah.
Yeah, he does look like that a little bit. The 70s thing going on.
Napoleon.
Yes, Dwight. I called him Dwight.
Yeah.
Gunther knows that they want Ezekiel alive.
Right.
So he goes out and gets Ezekiel, and he's like torturing him essentially, but keeping him alive.
Yeah, well, he mentions that Negan offered a bonus for bringing him back alive.
Right. Of the major.
So everybody else is worthless, according to Gunther. But,
well, I'd be willing to bet that he's got a bounty on Rick.
Right.
On
all the generals of Rick's group. Yes.
Right. But of course Ezekiel. So Gunther's dragging him through the mud, is just tearing him down, and Ezekiel is ready.
He's got like a leg wound, and then he's like pressing his leg on the leg wound,
and then
pressing his foot on the leg wound. Excuse me.
Yeah, he grabs blood and paints it on his face, and
Yeah, that was weird. He's just like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to paint your face. I'm putting a cross down your face.
well, Gunther was an odd duck.
Yeah, slightly.
Yeah. Now, of course, at one point, and this is where Jerry comes into play. Jerry comes out with his battle axe and slices Gunther right down the middle.
That was great. He cleaves him right in two.
Yep.
And we got this great like point of view shot from Jerry's point of view, because all of a sudden you see Gunther part right in front of the camera.
So great.
He falls, basically Gunther splits and both sides, like one side goes one way, the other side goes the other way on the camera, and you see looking through.
See his insides.
Right.
Right.
It was so great.
Yeah.
Love that.
Now, I know Under the Dome was kind of a crap show, but when the dome came down, you would see, like, cows cut in half and them going,
Yep.
And it was like that.
They got bisected, yes.
Right.
Right.
It was very cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was great.
Unless you're the cow, but yeah.
What happened is throughout this episode, Ezekiel was just torn down to the point of being completely lost at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
And he ends up back at the kingdom, but he's not the king anymore.
No, it's basically Ezekiel had bought into his whole persona,
right,
of being King Ezekiel,
right. Unless he's talking to Carol,
right,
who knows what he's really like,
right. He was confiding to her, but to everybody else.
Right.
And he was just like, okay, I'm going to give this big motivational speech, or we're going to go out and we're going to kick some ass, and we're going to take names, and his overconfidence is his undoing.
Right.
Because for one thing, he's not really thinking strategically, because he's not that type of a person.
No, he's not. He's not a warrior.
Right.
And he said that in this episode. He said, I'm just a zookeeper.
Right.
And Carol and Jerry, they were ready to stand by him, but they realized, this battle was over before it began. And they ended up going back to the kingdom, and people were just at a loss. They didn't know what to do. And
well, Jerry had a really good moment, I thought, when Ezekiel is telling Jerry, look, I'm not your king.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just some guy.
Right.
Which is where the title of the story comes from. And Jerry says, look, I have to believe you're the king, because I have to believe that everything that I invested in this was worth it.
Right.
So he continues to call him Your Majesty, even though Ezekiel wants no part of it now.
Right. And I think Jerry is still going to stick by him.
Yeah.
100%. Now, he might reject that whole king thing.
Yeah.
Ezekiel. And tell Jerry, grow up. I'm not the king anymore. But I think Jerry's still going to be, the guy by Ezekiel's side.
Jerry is the new Shiva.
There you go.
He's going to be the guy following him around, following Ezekiel around.
Yeah. He's going to start growling.
Rawr.
Rawr. I don't know what's going to happen to Ezekiel. There are things that happen in the book.
Yeah. It doesn't look good for Ezekiel long term. Don't get too attached, kids.
No, don't.
Save yourself a heartbreak now.
He's defeated at this point.
Yeah.
So we'll see where he goes.
Now, they could do something different, because, again, the show has been diverging from the comics in certain ways.
Yeah. And Carrie is very well liked by everyone.
Right.
By all the people on the show.
Yeah, he's great on that show. So maybe they'll keep him around longer than you would expect.
Right. I love him.
Right.
I would love to see them redeem that character and keep him on the show. So, I mean, there's a lot of characters on the show that weren't meant to be there.
Right.
Still. So
yeah, he's one of the few characters you actually really, really like. So you've got to keep those guys around as long as possible.
Daryl wasn't even. in the comic. To be
No. Daryl was a brand new adventure for the show, and look how that turned out. So,
Exactly.
all right. So, you want to talk about Outlaw Country?
Yeah, Outlaw Country.
Outlaw Country, woo!
And that is Daryl and Rick.
Yeah.
Who went on a bit of a cannonball run.
I was thinking more Smokey and the Bandit because,
Okay, that's
but basically, yeah, they go after this one savior who has the guns because Carol's forced to let the guy escape because she decides to go back for Ezekiel.
Now, can we talk about Carol
Yeah.
as well? Carol, in that little courtyard
Yeah.
with the gunfire, she is amazing, right?
Yes.
She returns fire. She hides behind the truck. And can I just say one thing about the truck and the fire? On Mythbusters,
Yeah.
they proved that hiding behind a car does not save you from getting shot.
No, because bullets can go through the car.
Right through the car.
Yeah.
So all of those people would be dead. So it bothers me every time I see a firefight where people duck behind cars.
Unless you're lucky enough that maybe the bullet would
It's
hit
you.
something.
Yeah, but it was like
Yeah.
machine guns.
Right. Well, I mean, given the choice of standing out in the open and hiding behind a car, you're going to hide behind the car.
Right.
Right.
Now, the one thing she did right is hide in the tire area
Right.
of the car.
Because tires are more solid.
Right. So she did have a better chance of saving herself
Because
by hiding
because of the hubcaps and whatnot.
in the tire wall. And the
Right.
rubber.
Right.
The rubber might stop a bullet. I mean, you have like 4.
Right. It absorbed the bullet. Yeah.
So I'll give her a little slack there. But there were times when she was just literally behind the metal of a car and she would have been dead. And I was like, but again, it's a TV show, so we got to give them that license.
Right.
But it was a great shootout scene. And then she had that, I'll tell you, she comes out, I'll tell you where Rick is. I have that information, so I'm valuable to you. It's pretty much,
Yeah.
what she's saying.
She's bargaining here.
She takes the opportunity, of course, to grab the first guy that gets close enough to her and hold him hostage.
Idiot.
Right?
Yes.
She pretty much figures, I think, in her head that they're going to kill the guy. But at the very least, she gets his weapon. She has a human shield. Right?
Yes.
So she has a weapon and a human shield out of the deal.
Which is a better position than when she started.
That's right. And so she pins those 2 guys behind a building instead of where the bad position she was in.
Right.
Which is fantastic. And then the guys had to run from the zombies instead of just from her.
Yes.
Because
the gates open and then the zombies come in.
Right.
To the courtyard or wherever.
And she takes the opportunity to grab the keys off of that guy that she had taken hostage, which again, another bonus.
Well, yeah, and that's Carol's strength is that she plans ahead. So she's able, she's doing chess moves like down the road. She's like, okay, I'm going to need this for later.
Right. I mean, immediately she looks down at the guy and she's like, what can I take off this guy that will help me?
Right.
And she's like, keys, gun.
Yep.
Oh, he's got another clip. Great. Let's take that. Let's look. What else does he have? She's combing his body for whatever, before the dude turns or whatever.
But these guys but there's this part then where Carol's faced with this choice about, okay, do I take out the truck with the guns or do I go save Ezekiel?
Right.
And she's actually torn about it.
Right.
Until she decides, okay, I'm going to save Ezekiel and hope for the best.
And that's why we don't see that on screen.
Right.
We don't. Because we just see her and Ezekiel and Jerry walk later. And then she says, Ezekiel says, well, what about the guns? And then there's that little pause and we hear the of Carol's bike. And she says, oh, I don't think we got to worry about that. And that's when we get the whole, smoking the Bandit.
Or Dukes of Hazzard is probably...
Exactly.
It was about this time that the Duke boys headed down the road and went after the savior with the guns.
And can I just say, this was amazing because they were jumping in and out of cars.
Right.
They were like riding on the, Daryl was standing on his bike. I mean, they were, zipping. Here's one of the things I liked when Daryl was behind Rick and Rick swerves a little bit and Daryl's like, boom, 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 boom. Yep. And he shoots the guy.
Well, there was one part where Daryl wipes out on his bike.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but
but then Rick's going after him, the guy with guns.
Right.
And by this time, this allows Daryl a chance to catch up.
Right. And then that's when Rick swerves.
Yep.
Daryl's behind him.
Yep.
Unexpected gun.
Yes.
He shoots that guy in the back of the truck. And then
the other guy, the guy driving the truck, veers off the road, off a ravine or whatever.
Right. And that's all.
Yeah.
They end up with all the guns. And so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
To have a chase scene with them. And we know.
So who expected a car chase in a Walking Dead episode?
No one.
Yeah.
And that's the great part.
Yeah.
About this episode. And we know that the actors that played Daryl and Rick are friends that prank each other all the time.
Yes.
I mean, we've heard this. They put glitter in each other's cars.
Right.
And air vents.
Yes.
Right? So
that was a move. That's a kind of move that you do when you're getting somebody just as they're like when they're leaving their wedding in a car.
Right. Right. And of course, Atlanta, which I'm going to learn about soon.
Yes. Yeah, because you're doing a little move.
Yep, I'm moving down there.
Yep.
Atlanta is really hot and sticky. So when he turns the air on in his car and he's all hot and sticky and gross, the glitter came out and hit him in the face. So they're that kind of buddy. And I'm sure when they were shooting those scenes, it was just amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah, hold on.
Amazing.
You'll hear more about that later.
Yes, you will.
All right. So, anything else about this episode?
No, I think that's it.
All right.
I was just so happy with it.
Yeah, this was a good episode. So, what was your rating for this?
I give it 9 dystopian Dwights.
Nice. Well, we're in sync. Surprise. 9 broken battle axes from me because rest in peace, battle axe.
I was very upset about it.
Yeah, but great episode from The Walking Dead.
Yeah, I couldn't rate it anything to do with Shiva because
Shiva. Yeah,
I just couldn't.
Yeah, it would have been in poor taste.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
9 average. Oh, don't go there. That's not good.
Yeah.
Okay, on to The Gifted. We're going to skim this one.
Yeah, even though Lucifer came first, but just saying. I know.
I'm going based on what you put in the spreadsheet. The Gifted came next in the spreadsheet.
All right.
Okay, so The Gifted, 107, Extreme Measures.
Extreme Measures.
Okay, the A story.
Written by Michael Horowitz, directed by Steven Surjik.
Okay.
Yeah.
A story, Blink and You'll Miss Her.
Right.
Get it? Because she ran away.
Right. Blink and You're Dead. Oh, wait. Different podcast. Never mind.
B story, A Stroke of Malice.
Stroke me. Oh. Dun, dun. Oh, sorry.
And then I have 2 C stories. Cartel, the end of the story, please, because I'm so tired of that story.
I think is my favorite this week.
Yeah, I can't stand that.
And yes, I am. My brain just glazes over.
Yeah,
with
needs to go.
With this whole whole drug cartel thing or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, we have enough storylines on the show.
It's so unnecessary. It doesn't Eclipse is like the most boring of the Mutant Underground.
Right.
So last thing we need is more of him.
I'm
He's okay with Polaris,
with
but
other people, yes.
but by himself in a storyline of him by himself, no,
Right.
no,
Right.
doesn't work.
It's just dumb.
Yeah.
Right. And then wade through the evidence for Wade, of course.
Got it.
Now, okay, let's go into this Wade thing.
Not Wade Wilson, by the way.
No. Reed finds out that this image manipulation mutant Wade has a past that is somewhat checkered.
You mean Wes?
Oh, is his name Wes?
Wes.
Well, that doesn't work with mine.
No, it doesn't. But that's okay. That's okay.
Okay, Wes through the evidence.
Yes. There you go.
Okay, he finds out that he...
It's a West stop.
West stop. That's nice.
You like that?
Yeah, that's nice.
Okay.
I don't know why I keep calling people Wade in the Marvel universe, but I do.
It's Deadpool. You've got Deadpool in the brain.
Deadpool on the brain? Maybe that's it.
Yep.
I loved that whole Bob Ross trailer.
That was good. The teaser trailer for Deadpool 2, whatever we call Deadpool 2.
Mm-hmm. Bob Rossian thing.
Yep.
Okay, so Wes has a checkered past because, they all had to do things in their past in order to stay under the radar, right?
Right.
They're all lawbreakers.
Breaking the law.
Reed has to warn his daughter off from this West kid.
Yeah.
And
he like gets a whole bunch, like a file on this kid because he's working with Sage, who has, like, the big computer research skill power.
Right.
So they compile this whole, like, dossier on this guy, on this kid, Wes, and Reed goes to his daughter, Lauren, going, "Hey, this kid is not what he appears.
He stole stuff."
Yeah, but of course, Lauren doesn't care.
No.
She thinks he's dreamy.
Right. Who cares what he did? Unless he, like, killed a bunch of people, who cares?
Right.
Right? Because they all did stuff there.
Well, just it's Reed not wanting this guy anywhere near his daughter.
Well, I know. It's so dumb, though.
Yeah.
This is so dumb. That's why I made it a C storyline. And Wes, of course, comes clean, and he says, "Hey, yeah, I did stuff in my past, but I did it because that's what I had to do to get by."
Right.
And,
but then he ends up having to leave later in the episode.
Yeah, because they don't want to tolerate that.
Right, exactly. So he ends up going to Augusta.
Mm-hmm.
And, so he transfers to, like, apparently they've got mutant undergrounds, like, all over the country.
Right.
So he's like, okay, I'm going to hook up with this little pod or group or whatever have you over in Augusta.
Right.
And so I'll still be helping, but I just won't be near you guys.
Right. So that leaves the door open for Lauren to run away.
Right. Either Lauren runs away, or they have, like, a long-distance relationship, or, like, he'll be back someday.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go to Cartel, the end of the story, because
please, yeah,
I want to get that over with.
Yeah, please.
Clips keep getting these threatening phone calls from his ex,
right? Carmen, yeah.
Him to help.
Carmen's just like, okay, she keeps trying to lure him back into the cartel group. And she's like, look, hey, we just had this one thing. Will you help us out? I'll even pay you.
Right. And you can't resist.
Yeah.
And I'll tell on you to everyone. And he's just like, okay, whatever, this last thing.
Right, because she wants him to, like set the drugs on fire.
Right.
And so, but of course, it's at that very moment that, hey, Polaris and Dreamer show up.
Right.
Because Polaris gets wind that, oh, hey, Eclipse he wasn't, like, trying to get supplies from another group.
Right.
He was doing this stuff on the side. And so she tracks him down and, of course, sees him kind of really getting into the whole cartel thing. Like, he's using his powers.
Right.
And he's all kind of cozying up with Carmen.
Right.
And she's like, that's it. I'm out of here.
So, he comes back to the Heidi place.
Yes.
And Polaris has given him the super cold shoulder.
Yep.
And does this mean they break up? Who cares?
Yes, let's piss off the person with magnetic powers.
I do not care at all about the Carmen thing. Get her off the show. She needs to go. We don't need the storyline.
Right.
There's so many things going on. Out. Okay, Blink and You'll Miss Her, which I think is the best storyline on the show right now.
Yeah.
Blink, of course, and Thunderbird.
John
Yep.
Proudstar.
Blink leaves because she has a bit of angst.
Yeah. Well, she's having problems because, the Dreamer altered her memories so that she had this one, like, very powerfully emotional moment of Thunderbird.
Right.
So now she's kind of drawn to him.
Right. And she just can't stand to be there. Not only does she feel violated, but she feels like she's attracted to John.
Right.
And
she's like, I can't even.
Right. She knows she's really not.
Yeah.
She doesn't know how to trust her feelings.
And Dreamer tries, to her credit, says, look, I can take that memory away from you.
Right.
But then Blink is like, nope, I'm going to just go.
Right. I'm just going to leave.
Which I'm thinking, okay, if you don't want that memory.
Well, wait a minute.
Okay.
She doesn't want someone in her brain again.
Right.
Because she already feels violated. Would you want that person back in your brain?
Well, here's the thing. If you don't want that memory, I guess the question is, does she not want to be violated or does she not want that memory? And apparently she's choosing that she doesn't want to be violated again.
Right. She doesn't trust Dreamer.
Yeah.
And I think that's the main thing.
Right.
She just doesn't want anything to do with Dreamer.
Right.
So I can see where she's coming from. I think she feels like the memory is easier to deal with than having Dreamer back in her head again.
Right.
Now, I think she will at one point have her take it away. But right now she doesn't want anything to do with them.
See, I'm thinking something's going to happen to Dreamer and then it'll be stuck there.
Right. Well, it might.
Yeah.
But right now she just doesn't want anyone in her head.
That's my theory.
Yeah. She feels violated. She feels like,
And it's understandable where she's coming from. Don't get me wrong, but I would think that like if that memory was really bothering you, you'd want it out of your head, if possible.
I think she does, but there's also that.
Yeah. She doesn't want to risk everything else.
I don't trust you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't trust you.
And I don't blame her for that, for not trusting Dreamer. So yeah.
Right. So there's that, and she leaves, and John comes after her, and they have really deep talks about her life and where she's come from and how she lived on the street and was a foster kid and all that. Isn't that what the deal was, that she was hard to handle as a kid and
right.
Lots of other stuff.
Well, she goes off. She wants to find out more about why she had that. She kept warping, that gateway to this one place.
One alley.
Yeah. So apparently she feels it's significant, and she wants to kind of understand why that's the case. Right. So she goes off to deal with that. Right.
And Thunderbird is really understanding. And then there's a point where he and her are actually kind of an interesting pairing, because his whole thing is tracking.
Yes.
And she is very hard to track.
Yes. So they're kind of opposites attract here.
Right. It's an interesting pair.
Yeah.
She can blink all over the place, and he has a hard time finding her. So it's a really compelling storyline. It's interesting to watch. And then, of course, there's Campbell.
Yeah. AKA Ahab.
Yeah, and Jace. And they're talking to a council member who wants to put off the stuff about the mutants. And Campbell, who has a mutant on his payroll, apparently.
Yes.
Gives the council member a stroke.
Yeah. So this would be the stroke of malice.
Yeah.
And this council member is essentially taken off the board, and we kind of see what the lengths that Campbell will go to.
Yep. Now, in this episode, and I can't believe I didn't see it sooner. I'm sure you did, though.
Yeah.
They mentioned Trask.
Yes, they did. Trask Industries.
And Sentinel services. Are they going to make Sentinels? Yes.
Well, that's the kind of the indicate. Well, here's an interesting bit. Apparently, they found that they found out that Pulse, the guy who ended up being drafted into a Hound,
right?
That John knew, that
Right.
Thunderbird knew. Well, apparently he was among the first of this group of mutants that was chosen for the Hound program.
Right.
And the program isn't government funded, but a private military contract with Trask Industries.
Mm-hmm.
And Reed's like, no, Trask Industries was shut down in 2006, which, hey, just happened to be the same year that X-Men The Last Stand came out.
Right.
So, little aside there. And he's like, I know this because my father worked at Trask Industries for 35 years.
Right.
So I guess it's time to pay Dad a visit as we set up getting some more, the full lowdown on the Strucker family tree.
That's right. Which Strucker are we going to see?
Well, from what I understand from the previews we saw for next week, which is this week now.
Right.
As I understand it, Baron Strucker, now I'd posed my theory last time about how this lineage breaks out. I think I have to add another generation in.
Okay, so he's great-grandfather?
So Baron Strucker is apparently the great-grandfather.
Okay.
The Strucker twins of Andreas and Andrea are his children.
Okay. So grandfather.
And those are the grandfather to Reed.
Okay, and or grandmother, whichever
Right.
descendant he is.
Right.
Right.
So then there's Reed's father, who we're going to meet.
Who is a descendant of one of those two.
Yes.
Okay.
Presumably Andreas Strucker, because it was a male.
Right.
So presumably he's Andreas's son. And then there's Reed.
Right.
And then the fifth generation is Andy and Lauren.
Right.
And apparently there's a warning from Reed's father that, hey, you might want to keep an eye on Andy and Lauren because, hey, my father, Andreas, and his sister,
dun, dun.
my aunt, and so, yeah.
Yeah.
So
now,
basically it's foreshadowing that, like, maybe Andy and Lauren are going to be the new Fenrir, perhaps, which is what I was positing earlier.
Does that mean Reed has some hidden power somewhere?
It means he should.
Right.
Presumably. But remember, they've talked about how sometimes mutant powers skip a generation.
Yeah. But I think he does. I mean, because the Struckers are really powerful mutants.
Right. So that would presumably mean that Reed's father has power.
Right.
As well.
And maybe when he sees his father says something to him and says he probably has some latent powers.
Right. So we'll find out. Because I know everybody was like, well, maybe Caitlin's going to come out and have powers, but I think it's going to be Reed.
It's going to be Reed.
Because it's more ironic that the guy who was prosecuting mutants becomes a mutant himself, right?
Exactly. And I think it's going to be something that like has happened to him and he didn't realize it was a power or something.
Yeah. And of course, that for Caitlin is frustrating me so much now.
Okay, the stuff with the training.
Yeah.
Caitlin having them do like school work and all that.
Yeah. I posed this on Twitter, which got some likes that Caitlin is now, or like Amy Acker is being so wasted as Caitlin the school marm.
Big time wasted.
Yeah, like we don't need school teacher Caitlin.
Why can't she be working with them? Working with them.
I thought she was going to be the doctor, and she's just going to be like, okay, I'm stuck teaching kids.
Yeah,
with leftover school books.
At the beginning of the show,
and I'm showing them pea plants.
Right. At the beginning of the show,
yeah.
She was gung ho about saving her kids and being on board with the whole mutant thing.
Yeah.
And now she's like, I don't want to train them. I don't want them to learn about their powers. Okay, she needs to get on board.
So now, like, Reed, the guy who was prosecuting mutants, is more useful than she is. Reed's going out in the field. Reed's like, researching stuff with Sage.
Yeah, let's Amy Acker.
She deserves better than this.
I agree. Okay, so anything we missed?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, what did you give this episode?
I gave it 8 pea plants, and I think I was being generous.
Yeah. Speaking of which,
Yeah.
I was not that generous because I think Blink and the Campbell storyline were the only good parts of this episode, and they were not big
Right.
parts. I gave it 7 lobbed hunks of concrete.
Yeah.
And otherwise, they need to get rid of some of the trash and focus on the good stuff.
This show started off so strong, and it's been the past few episodes, not coincidentally because of the whole cartel storyline subplot, that these past few episodes have been really flat.
Yep.
They're just basically, just dog paddling at the moment.
Yep. They need to streamline it back to what's good.
Yeah.
And
focus on that they're constantly on the move or threatened and fighting for their lives. Pick up the pace.
Right. There is gold in this show.
Right.
I mean, there is. It's just they need to stick to what is good.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. I mean, I get that it's only the 7th episode. They're still trying to figure things out, but they need to do that a little quicker.
Agreed.
So, all right. Lucifer
off the record 307.
Now, do we want to talk about our little Twitter side first, or do we want to?
Well, say who wrote and directed.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, let's do that first. I'm sorry. So, off the record, teleplay by Chris Rafferty and Mike Costa, directed by Eduardo Sanchez.
That's right. Okay, now talk about what you said on Twitter.
Okay, so there was this exchange, I think, between Amy Garcia, who plays Ella, and Rachel Harris, who plays Dr. Linda, on Twitter. And they were just basically, I think, Amy Garcia was complimenting Rachel Harris and how awesome she is.
Right.
And so I replied to Rachel Harris. I said, I posted a GIF from Archer.
Right.
Which, of course, because we use the amazing soundbite on this show so much, so I posted that as a GIF.
Right.
And that ended up getting likes from both Amy Garcia and Rachel Harris. Right. And then you chimed in.
Right. And I said, because we use the amazing soundbite on our Fandom Zone podcast, because you on Archer FX is gold.
Yes.
Or something like
that. Something like that, yeah.
And then I got almost immediately liked by Rachel.
Yeah. And and you notice that she also said that I would love to come back to Archer.
Yep, she sure did.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, we would love to have you come back to Archer because that would be great.
Please.
Yeah, but apparently, she really liked the fact. Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, after I posted the GIF, she's like, "This is exactly what I needed right now."
Yeah.
Which I thought that was awesome. So,
amazing.
Yeah, amazing.
Amazing.
Very nice. You got that down pretty good.
Oh yeah, I can do a pretty good impression. Hold on.
Amazing.
Wow, stereo.
Thank you.
Is it live or is it Memorex? There's an old reference for you.
Tell me.
Yeah, so that was kind of cool that we got to interact with the couple of Lucifer cast members, and we got some love back in return. So, cheers to Amy Garcia and Rachel Harris for that.
That's right. I've actually had some pretty decent interactions with Rachel before.
Yeah, she seems like good people.
Not live like that. I mean, that was almost live.
Yeah, that was pretty instantaneous, wasn't it?
That was.
She must have been using her phone, and then all of a sudden the notification comes up. Okay, reply.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that was cool.
I was blown away by how quick it was. So yeah, it was wonderful.
Yeah, it was great.
Okay, so we're talking about off the record.
Yes, off the record. Let's get back to the actual episode now.
Instead
of tooting our own horn.
Exactly. Well, that was their horn, to be honest.
Yeah, but it was kind of cool. So
yeah. A story, Dr. X Thyself.
Yeah.
Which is about Dr. Linda.
Yes.
B story, Serial Interflux.
I love that you used because John Billingsley from Star Trek Enterprise, who played Dr. Phlox on that, is in this episode. I spotted him right off the bat.
Too. As soon as he opened that door, I was like, "Oh my God, it's Dr. Phlox."
Yep.
Yeah,
Lori, my wife Lori was just like, "Who?" And I'm like, we watched Star Trek Enterprise for 4 years. How do you not know who that guy is?
If any of you watched Chuck,
Yeah.
the general, the female general on Chuck,
Yeah.
John Billingsley's wife
Really?
in real life.
Oh.
So they used to go to conventions together when there was a Chuck panel and a Star Trek panel. And they used to do little signing things in the same booth, and it was just so adorable.
That's cool.
Just a little sidebar thing. Okay, so serial interflux.
Yeah.
And the C story, not so instant replay.
Oh, very cool.
I'm going to talk to you about something when we're done with this real quick.
Okay.
So Dr. X Thyself
Yeah, we're just going to skim this one.
Yes. Dr. Linda is getting a divorce from someone, and we never saw this in the original show. But
Right. So this episode is really great because we go back to seasons 1 and 2 through this character named Getty.
Reese
Getty.
Yep.
And who we find out through the course of the episode is Dr. Linda's ex.
Right.
And we find out basically he had a whole big thing about Lucifer after finding out that, Lucifer was banging Dr. Linda.
Yep.
While they were married.
Yes. So Dr. Linda was married that whole time.
The scandal.
They were separated.
They were separated. So yeah.
Probably legally separated.
And to be fair, Dr. Linda kept trying to get Reese to sign these divorce papers.
Right. Well, legally separated is, you have to be separated for a certain amount of time before you can divorce in California. So I think.
Okay. I'm not up on my California divorce law. Go figure.
Well,
so I'll take your word for it.
A lot of people in California.
Okay.
A lot of people. It's a community property state, too. Half.
Yeah, you do halvesies. Yeah.
You
have to liquidate, don't you?
Yes, my brother knows that firsthand.
Okay.
So he cut his ex-wife's piano in half.
Harsh.
Well, his ex-wife also left him with half of like $8,000 of bills.
Okay. Nice. Can't imagine why that would be a divorce.
Right.
All right. So anyway, so it's kind of cool that we basically have this like secret character that apparently was involved that we never knew about.
Right.
And
it was really cool.
And it was cool because like if you paid attention to like they would have scenes at the police station because this was set in season 1, so you didn't have Ella yet.
Right.
Or in season 2 you didn't have Tom Walling's character, whose name I keep forgetting because his character's so boring. Pierce, yes, thank you.
Was my maiden name.
Oh.
The only reason I remember it.
Well, that's all right. That's a good reason to remember it.
Yeah,
so it was very clever the way they did this episode.
Although now we know that Lucifer was eating the pudding all the way back in season 1.
Right.
So Dan
has been harboring this grudge about his pudding.
About the pudding.
For like 3 seasons, 3 years now.
Right. Not just Chloe, but the pudding.
Yeah. This is like a major thing.
It is.
I keep waiting for like at some point Lucifer's going to give him like a big old like that big tub of chocolate pudding that Carl ate on The Walking Dead.
Yeah, a big like industrial size tin can of pudding.
Right.
Yeah.
I would think that would be hilarious.
Or a vat like the guy fell into.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's right because he did go to that one episode. Yeah, so maybe the whole vat. Just like have at it, dude.
Big comical spoon.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Like just one of those big like novelty spoons. And it's like go for it.
Or just use your hands, Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this guy Reese is trying to get his wife back. He thinks he has a chance. He goes and he sees Lucifer coming out.
He has no chance.
No, he has no chance. Especially after Lucifer reigns, or for anyone else, really, right? I mean,
yeah. And through the course of this episode, Reese just loses his S.
Yeah, and I think the main reason he loses his S is he sees Lucifer's devil face
Right.
by accident.
Yeah.
Lucifer.
And so this is what makes him freaked out, because he's like, trying to warn his ex-wife, hey, he's the devil.
Really
The devil.
Right. But by this point, Dr. Linda already knows.
Yeah. And doesn't care.
Right. Doesn't care.
And that drives him even more insane.
Right. Yeah. It makes.
And
him
everybody likes Lucifer. That drives him even more insane.
Dan.
Except for Dan. Yeah. Dan's the only exception.
And Dan is so ineffectual about it.
Yeah.
It does nothing. Yeah. He keeps eating my pudding. And Reese is just like, pudding? Really? Really? I can't do anything with this.
Yeah. This is all you're giving me?
Right.
Yeah.
So he ends up figuring out one of their cases, and it's a serial killer played by this John Billingsley character, Alvin.
Yeah.
And he gets Alvin to go.
Alvin! Oh.
He gets Alvin to go to Lux, and he wants him to off Lucifer.
Through poisoning.
Right.
So he basically poisons his glass, but then the glass gets switched.
Right.
And this woman dies instead.
Right.
So.
Not so good.
So congratulations, Reese. You're incriminated as a co-conspirator in a murder.
Right. So not so good. And in order to make things right, he tries to get John Billingsley in a room.
Right.
And get him to confess. And in doing so, Alvin kills him as well.
Right.
But they manage to get Alvin as well. And when Reese, quote unquote, wakes up in the hospital again, it is back to the beginning of the show.
Right. We go full circle.
And this is where my mind is blown.
Definitely.
Yours too?
Yes, because this was such a great moment. Because it seems really odd, okay, why are we starting the episode over again, coming full circle? And then there's the big, what a twist, reveal.
We're in hell.
We find out that, oh, hey, Reese actually died, went to hell, and he's reliving this whole thing over and over again as his punishment in hell.
Right.
So that was just that was beautiful.
It blew my mind. It really did.
This is probably why I gave it a little higher than you, because I respected the script, the way this was structured, so much.
It was so good. It really did. Well, I gave it an 8. I didn't think.
You were solid, but I mean,
it was solid. It was just a standalone.
Yeah,
so,
but it was such an atypical Lucifer episode.
Yeah,
and it was done so well.
Right, because it didn't focus on the case really.
Right. It was just focusing on Reese's descent into madness and his obsession with Lucifer that ends up essentially sending him to hell. And and he confronts Lucifer about it, and Lucifer is just like, look, dude, I don't send people to hell. It's people that send people to hell.
Right. And it's true, because ultimately it's his focus on Lucifer and killing the woman by mistake that sends him to hell.
Exactly. So essentially, he's responsible for sending himself to hell.
Right. And then he wakes up and we see that pullback of the camera and all the weird pillars of of hell and all that, and the camera doing that weird jumpy thing, and
the kind of shimmery thing.
It literally blew my mind. I mean,
it was pretty cool.
Crazy.
Good episode. Great episode. Very, very unexpected, and surprisingly strong. Yeah. So what's your rating for this one?
I gave it 8 Star Trek guest stars because the guy who played Reese was in a Voyager episode.
Right. Which I did not remember that, but you did.
I recognized him from a lot of little things, but
he's been in a lot of stuff. If you look at his IMDb or Wikipedia,
his name is Patrick Fabian.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to look him up, a lot of things. But he was in a Voyager episode, and I used to watch Voyager a lot, over and over. And then John Billingsley, of course, who played Alvin, was Phlox.
Yeah, Dr. Phlox on Enterprise. So so that was very cool. All right.
And you give it?
I gave it 8.5 fake breast implants.
Nice, because
there's a great moment where Tom Ellis is juggling breast implants.
Yeah.
Which I have to think is a great gif.
So great. Oh, I should do that. I
Yeah,
should
that
pull
should be a great gif of him juggling breast implants. So,
And there were some really funny asides in this episode as well.
it was good. So, and it was kind of cool to go back into season 1. We, like dived right back into the show of how this show started. Really,
Got to see the outside of Dr. Linda's building.
Yep,
which we've never seen before.
that's true. We didn't. That's a good point.
So we got to see everything from the outside.
Yes.
That was kind of like a metaphor for how we saw this episode.
Oh, I see what you did there. Very clever. Very astute. All right, moving on.
Supergirl, Midvale. Again, another one I think we should skim.
Yeah, although this was surprising for kind of a Supergirl light episode, I think this is pretty good. And I'll tell you, we'll get into this why I think so. But written by Caitlin Parrish and Jess Cardos, directed by Rob Greenlee.
Okay, Caitlin Parrish is good.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so you bastard.
I like this one a little bit more than you did. You bastard. A little higher.
Okay.
It's a little low.
You bastard!
A little better. It was a little better.
You bastard!
There we go.
Okay.
I got it.
That was the A storyline because, of course, they killed Kenny.
Shut up, Cat.
They killed Kenny.
Yeah, they killed Kenny. Poor Kenny. And of course, there's actually a they killed Kenny joke.
Someone says that.
Yeah, someone actually says this. These these bullies.
That douche bully. Yeah.
Yeah. So of course.
And they called him a douche in the show. That's why I said that.
Yeah.
Mini crossovers? Question mark.
Ooh.
There's 2.
Yeah.
In the episode.
Okay. What are the 2?
Chloe.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that was one of the reasons I want to get into them. But yes.
Right.
Right.
What was the other one? I'm trying to think. The other one was more mainstream. One.
Well, we had Martian Manhunter show up.
That's not a crossover.
Yeah, it's not really a crossover.
Oh, Noel Neal.
Yeah. That was the nod to Noel Neal. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So that was
Minnie.
That was very
Put Minnie.
Yeah. So
Mentions of 2 different Superman shows.
right.
So we had Chloe from Smallville.
Right.
In this episode. So now Smallville is in this universe.
And it was very meta. If you're
very meta
Yes.
because we also had a cast member from Smallville
right.
in this episode.
Yeah. Well, this episode, and maybe this is why I liked it, and I think it's kind of funny that this episode is titled Midvale, is that this episode feels a lot like a tribute to Smallville.
Yeah, it does.
And to the fact that, like you said, we had Erica Durance, who has been cast as replacing the actress that played Kara's mother, Allura.
Right.
But here she poses as, well, she shows up and Kara's just like, Mom?
Right.
And she's like, no, I'm not your mom. I'm a federal agent named Noel Neal.
Right.
Which is ironic because if you know that Noel Neal played Lois Lane on The Adventures of Superman back in the 50s.
Right.
And of course, Erica Durance played Lois Lane on, you guessed it, Smallville.
Smallville, right. And then she ends up being actually John Jones.
Right.
When she leaves the house, she becomes John Jones.
So Jean has apparently had interest in Kara for some time, which
Right.
I don't think has come up before.
Well, it has actually, because...
Oh, because of Jeremiah.
Jeremiah told
Right.
his eye on the girl.
Yes.
But we never saw it until this episode.
Yeah,
so
that's true. You're right. I totally forgot about the Jeremiah connection.
he just said
Yeah.
that Jeremiah asked him to keep
Played, of course, by Dean Cain, who played Superman on Lois and Clark.
on another show.
Yeah,
Right.
so...
If you want the whole thing.
But here we also got attention. I think unofficial confirmation. Well, pretty much official confirmation, I guess, that Supergirl and Smallville are in the same TV universe.
Yep. Because her cousin Clark knows a girl named Chloe that
Right.
has computer skills.
Right. And Chloe Sullivan, of course, was on this episode or the series Smallville, and they talk about and interestingly enough, the school that that Kara and Alex, young Kara and Alex, go to That's the exact same building that they use for Smallville High.
Is it really?
Yes.
Very cool.
So I thought that was very meta as
Yeah.
well.
So there's so many little touches.
So yeah, this was essentially like a big Smallville tribute episode. So hopefully, yeah, it'd be kind of interesting to have Chloe appear on Supergirl, but I don't think it's going to be Allison Mack.
No, she's in a bit of trouble right
Yeah,
now.
apparently Allison Mack has been exposed as a creepy sex cult thing.
Yeah, involved in a creepy sex cult.
Which is like, Chloe?
Alleged.
But alleged, yes, it is alleged, but still.
Yeah.
It's if you got to the point in your life where you're actually being alleged of being in a sex cult, something's not going on right there.
Yeah, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
But anyway, I thought it was cool that we at least had confirmation that Clark knows Chloe.
Yes.
Which is awesome. And then Noelle Neal, I kind of squeed at that her name was Noelle Neal.
Yeah, I love the name check there because, I used to be a big
Lois.
Adventures of Superman fan, watching the reruns. So
Right. Very cool.
Yeah.
And Jean the Enabler.
I actually got to meet Noelle Neal.
Did you really?
Yes, I did. In 1988, there was a Superman convention called the International Superman Expo. So I actually got to meet her there.
That's very cool.
Got her autograph and everything.
I hear she was super nice.
She's a very lovely lady. So she was. So
yeah. Jean the Enabler, because he gives his car out.
Right.
To ride around in.
Yeah.
He shows up at the house to kind of. He tells her not to use the powers, but he also is kind of like, don't use the powers, but
Yeah.
keep it on the down low.
Right. I think he's just trying to protect her. It's like, hey, I don't want to get you in trouble.
Right.
So yeah. So just like, just play cool. Play cool.
But he talks to Alex a little bit too.
Yeah.
And I think he's kind of encouraging Alex as well. And we see some seeds planted there.
Yeah. Well, this is essentially the story where we have Alex kind of finally coming around to liking Kara as a sister.
Yep.
And I really like the actresses that they got playing young Kara and Alex.
They look so much like them, don't they?
And especially the girl they got playing Kara is so. Her mannerisms are so Melissa Benoist.
I know, right?
It was scary.
Yeah, it was. I think Alex, the girl that plays Alex, looks like Alex too.
Yeah, she had kind of Alex's nose, which is a very distinct nose.
Just so dead on.
It was great casting as far as I'm concerned. So maybe we'll get to see more adventures of them. It was essentially like they were almost like the Nancy Drew mysteries.
Right.
And so maybe we'll get another story down the road with them because I would like to see them again. I thought they were very good.
Yeah, they solved a murder. They also
they caught the sheriff. They figured out the sheriff was behind this.
That's right. They took down a sexual predator.
Yeah.
They
not Allison Mack, but
Yeah, they cracked down on some drug use in the school.
Right.
I mean,
yeah. So it was very Nancy Drew, and
they did such a great job there.
There's a potential spin-off of Supergirl here.
Yeah, I would love to see a web series.
Yeah, that would be. You're right. That web series would be perfect.
Yeah, it would be. And you know what? I pretty much just went over the whole show right now. That's what they did.
Yeah.
Her friend, Kara's friend, only friend, Kenny.
Yes.
Murdered.
Oh my God, they killed Kenny. Yes.
Because he knows something.
Yeah, I felt bad because
What he knows is that the big man on campus is smoking weed.
Right.
But he gets eliminated as a suspect right away. But he still gets outed as smoking weed. And a teacher is having an affair with a student.
Right.
And he gets taken in for the murder.
Yep.
But then Alex goes to the police chief and says, oh, there's stuff on this laptop and we don't think it's the teacher because he has an alibi for that night. But we have to go and see what's on the laptop because And of course, it's the cop that she's talking to.
Yeah, and then like Alex gets taken into like an interrogation room and held at gunpoint, and Kara has to rescue her.
Right, and comes crashing through the wall.
Yep.
And the cop gets taken in, and they solve the murder. In the meantime, they have taken down the teacher, the student.
And apparently nobody wonders, like, okay, why was the wall demolished? Hand wave.
Things happen.
Yeah, it was a structural defect. Yeah, that's
right.
Yeah.
But
you felt bad for Kenny because Kenny had this like love of astronomy, and he got to share that with Kara because like they would use this telescope, which ends up getting left to her, and we see the telescope in the present day.
Mm-hmm. And they also learn that Kenny saw her spaceship land and never outed her.
Right. Apparently, he knew.
Right.
That she was an alien, and he was cool with it.
Right. Because he had that on his laptop as well.
Right.
He was good at keeping secrets.
Yes. Secrets.
Yeah, that was his superpower.
Yep. So, anything else about this episode?
And they went home to heal, and apparently they left feeling a little better about themselves.
Right. Somehow they made up. We did off screen. We didn't really see how they made up, but doesn't matter.
It was mostly about them as teenagers.
Yeah, it was just an excuse to get set up the framework for this episode.
Right. And it ended in the past with Alex also being ostracized instead of her being popular like she had been.
Yeah.
So she and Kara kind of had to hang out together.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that's it though. That's really the whole episode.
Okay, so yeah, I would just like to see another episode with these two down the road.
Me too.
So we'll see.
I liked it. I just didn't think there was a lot of story.
Yeah.
You know, it was
I don't think it had to be because it was about these kids.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it was like, okay, we get to see Alex and Kara as kids.
Yeah.
And what they were like.
But it was easy to skim.
And we were doing a Smallville tribute.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I liked the crossover.
Yeah, that was good.
So I give it 8 ostracized teens.
Right. And like I said, I was a little more generous. I really liked this one. 8.5 laptops buried in the woods for me.
Excellent. Now, can I just say?
Yeah.
John's car flies, right?
Yeah.
Why didn't they just fly home?
Because it's more fun to drive and have the wind. Like you get to drive down the road. Maybe they like the driving.
Okay.
Some people like to drive. It's fun.
All right.
So, and it catches a lot less attention.
That's true.
So, yeah. Maybe Kara's just like, I don't need to fly right now.
All right.
Because it wasn't a race to get back. They weren't in a hurry.
That's true.
Yeah.
They were going to take off for a few days.
Yeah.
All right. And of course, John was okay with it because he lent him the car.
Exactly.
So on Flash 406, When Harry Met Harry.
Yeah. Obviously, When Harry Met Sally nod. Written by Jonathan Butler and Gabriel Garza, directed by Brent Crowell. Crowell.
And let's hope it's not When Harry Met Sally because I don't want to see that.
Yeah. I don't think so.
Yeah.
This is more of the the actor that plays Harry Wells.
Tom Cavanaugh.
Tom Cavanaugh, thank you. This is basically a big Tom Cavanaugh showcase where he gets to do his impressions of like Gandalf and what's his name? Matthew McConaughey.
Yep.
The all right.
He did, especially. Yeah. What was the name of the movie with Michael Keaton where he played a bunch of himself?
Oh, Multiplicity?
Multiplicity.
Yeah.
Harry Plicity.
Yeah.
That's one of the C stories, Harry Plicity.
Yeah, but if you're a Rick and Morty fan, instead of the Council of Ricks, we have the Council of Wells in this story.
Yeah. And I like that they were doing an aside.
Yeah.
When Cisco said that, the Council of Wells,
yeah.
He said, "You like that name?" And Harry went, "Yeah, I like that. That's a good name." They're talking to each other.
Yeah.
Okay, when Harry met Harry, and I say A story on the warpath,
Okay.
B story good cop, mediocre cop,
Okay.
C story Wells was in a wheelchair too.
Okay.
Because it seems like they're going to underestimate their foe in this case. And then I didn't put it because I forgot to look it up. But
That's true. Yeah, that of course is the thinker that you're talking about there.
Harry Felicity.
Yep.
Would be the other storyline.
Okay. All right. So on the warpath, I'm presuming that is a reference to the Black Bison.
Correct.
Who is a Firestorm villain that is traditionally male.
Okay.
And has been completely revamped for the Flash.
For this?
Yeah, they created this brand new character named Mina Chayton.
Okay.
And so this version has never been in the comics. Black Bison has, but like I said, it's normally a dude.
Not this version.
Yeah, so.
Well, I kind of liked her.
Yeah.
But
did you get a little awkward vibe because of the whole, like, like she's, essentially trying to preserve these Native American artifacts, and
yeah, but
she's the bad. She's depicted as the bad guy,
right? If you're trying to do something good,
yeah,
be portrayed as a bad guy,
right?
And I did like that at the end, even though she got taken in, that the peace was restored.
Right.
Because, what's his name?
Ralph?
Yes, Ralph.
Yeah.
Gave it back.
Yeah. Well, as Ralph kept quoting Steven Spielberg movies in this episode, he's like, it belongs in a museum.
Right. Except he gave it back to her tribe at the end of the movie, which I liked. Okay, I have to say this.
Yes.
I grew up around Native Americans.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I'm 1/8 Cherokee.
Oh, very cool.
Thank you. I have a picture of my family, and it's not that far back, where there is a woman sitting in the front row of my family photo, and she's wearing full tribal gear.
Yeah.
A squash necklace and feathers and everything. She is magnificent looking.
Right.
So I have all this stuff, and I grew up learning about where I came from, and so it was very difficult for me to watch this episode and think of her as the bad guy.
Right.
Because I was like, yeah, it really should be.
Well, it was more that, that she's more in that gray area. I don't think she was evil.
Right.
I think it was just misguided. More than anything. But when you have like a Native American being like taken down by white heroes, it's all kinds of. It's not a good look.
Right. Not good.
Yeah,
not good.
Not a good look.
But she was hurting them.
Yeah,
so
yeah. So she just like took it too far, essentially. Yes.
Right.
And, when she's animating T-Rex fossils.
That movie was so wrong. I did like that.
They go from like Indiana Jones to like Jurassic Park, and it's like Ralph is just like a huge Spielberg nerd.
Yeah, he was funny in this episode. I have to say.
Yeah, it was good.
So yeah, they and I like my good cop, mediocre cop is of course Barry trying to teach Ralph
right
how to be a superhero, and so it's Ralph being mediocre at it, and Barry being good at it.
Yeah.
But Ralph ends up helping without knowing he's helping. Ralph stopping the bullets, even though they're going and firing back into the mugger.
Yeah. Well, he didn't do anything. It's just because his body is so rubbery that it bounced back at the guy, the mugger.
Right.
So yeah, there's this awkward scene though where Ralph and Barry are fighting the Black Bison and this caveman, and there's like a kid that's nearby that gets injured.
Right.
Because Ralph is trying to keep the villain from Black Bison from escaping.
Right.
in her car.
And that's his whole thing, is he doesn't want the villain to go.
Right.
He doesn't care.
But Barry's worried about the victim, or about the kid. Now, Barry, you've got super speed.
Right.
Why don't you save the
Don't
kid?
have the car or save the. Yeah. Do one or the other.
And you know, the Flash Riders are getting some crap from fans about this one, because it's like, Barry, you're the fastest man alive. You can do stuff.
Right.
You don't have to, like. And then he's giving Ralph crap.
Right.
For letting the kid get hurt. Was like, well, Barry, you could have stepped up to the plate just as easily.
Right.
So, and that's on the writers on this.
He's trying to teach Ralph, but when it comes to a kid actually getting hurt,
right,
dude,
yeah,
you don't let the kid get hurt. I mean, isn't that your whole moral of the story? Well,
here's the thing. It's like they've tried to say, like, oh, I'm on the ground, and oh, I can't get up. Which I'm like, why can't you get up and and save the kid?
Right.
Get off your ass.
Right. Right.
And stop getting on Ralph's ass about this.
Right.
So Ralph feels horrible about the kid getting hurt. He ends up like trying to go to visit her in the hospital, which is not at all creepy that some guy just shows up in a little girl's room in a hospital.
Right.
By himself.
No relation to her. And...
Yeah, exactly. So he shows up and he's like, he tries to, basically he spends earlier in the episode, he tries to figure out how to create balloon animals with his hands.
Right.
You know, so he does that. He tries to cheer her up.
Yeah.
Which, okay, great, good intentions, but it's all kind of creepy a little bit.
I agree. It is very creepy.
Especially when he kind of like lowers his hands below, out of sight. And you're like,
brings it back up.
Yeah, brings it back up, and there's like, this hand balloon animal.
Balloon animal.
Yeah.
You don't know where it's coming from. Or...
Now, the kid could have easily been freaked out by all this, but thankfully, luckily for Ralph, no, the kid was fine with it. Thought it was cool. But that could have easily gone sideways.
Easily. Imagine the mother walking into the room.
Exactly.
So sideways.
So, and then probably the little girl gets sent to a mental institution because she's talking about, mommy, he made like balloon animals with his hands. You know, like, seriously, something's wrong with this kid. You know, like, we have to get her looked at. Right.
And then she becomes like a villain.
Yeah, Ralph Dibny ruined her life by making balloon animals.
Right. You never know. He becomes the balloon popper.
Something. And then travels back in time because the Flash. And all right.
Exactly.
Okay,
and then multiplicity here. We got heraplicity, whatever.
Yes.
You can put it in the thing. But we have the Council of Wells.
Right.
Harry has, quote unquote, made friends.
Yeah, but apparently the only people he can make friends with is who?
Himself. But he doesn't even make friends with them. He hates them after talking to them more than...
Yeah, he's ready to ditch them.
Yeah.
Which shows you what a kind of a sociopath Harry is.
And I have to laugh again at the first part of this because he says, well, I made friends. He wanted me to make friends. And Cisco is laying in the chair kind of, and he's like, your friends are in this room.
Yeah. Hello.
And Caitlin does this.
This little wave, yeah.
Yeah, it's really funny, the first part. And then he's like, well, no, I made friends. I'll show them to you. And then he goes in the room and he picks all these Welleses out of these different universes. And it's so funny. He's got like a Mad Max.
Yeah, it's essentially like a hybrid between like the Road Warrior and the Borg from Star Trek Next Generation or the Cyberman. Take your pick.
And then he's got a lover who's the McConaughey, and then he's got like a.
There was like a German, like Mike Myers on that Sprocket sketch back on Saturday Night Live back in the day.
Yes. But German.
So yes, I will talk with a German accent and tell you how your theories are incorrect.
Very cerebral.
Yes.
Yeah. And so you are the short one. Oh,
yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
The short one. Yes. Yes, he ate the short one. This is so funny.
Yeah. And then like a Gandalf version of Wells shows up, but then Harry's just like, we're not doing this, and gets rid of the guy.
Right. No, we don't need him. And then Cisco's there to like officiate the whole thing, and the German one
Yes.
says, "Oh no, we do not need. Go away.
Yep.
Go away. Go away. Go away. Go away." And Wells is like, "Yeah, we don't need you. Go away." And
I've referred to this on Twitter as Crisis on Infinite Wells.
Yeah.
Because that's what it was.
So they put their heads together and they figure out that DeVoe, and the whole reason that they get together is because they can't figure out which DeVoe it is. There's a million DeVoes apparently.
Right.
And they
so they're trying to narrow it down, obviously.
Right. They finally figure out which DeVoe it is.
Yeah.
That it's Clifford. Is his name?
Yeah, it's Clifford DeVoe. Yes, which is the actual name of the thinker in the comics.
Right. So they narrow it down to this Clifford DeVoe.
Yep.
But in the meantime, of course, Harry hates all his selves.
Yes.
You know, they're all alike.
Right.
And of course, you're going to hate
Yeah.
yourself. You're too alike to
If you ever watch Doctor Who with multiple Doctor episodes, you know that when you're paired with yourself, you don't really seem to get along with yourself very well.
No, because there are parts of yourself that you hate.
Right.
Why would you want to see them in someone else?
Yeah.
You would hate them. That's why my dad and I don't get along. So yeah, they don't love each other, and he realizes that his family is there, and those are his real friends, Cisco and Caitlin, Barry, and all of them.
Right.
But so he gives them the address for this guy, and Barry and his dad go to see Clifford.
You mean Joe?
Joe, yeah.
Yeah. Well, just his dad. I don't know if you're like, because his dad's Henry Allen, but foster dad.
His dad.
Yeah.
It's his dad.
Adoptive dad.
It's his dad.
Yeah.
Right. He opens up the door, and of course it's his I guess it's his assistant.
Yeah.
Wife, quote unquote.
I'm trying to de-emphasize the dad because it's kind of creepy that Barry's marrying his sister.
Yeah, I know. Okay, I got it.
All
so
right.
Barry and Joe.
Yes, there you
go to the house where Clifford DeVoe is.
Now you see my reasoning.
Okay, I get it. And Clifford's assistant / wife opens the door, and
Right.
she looks like a little housewife.
Right. It's all kind of like everybody's just like, yeah, Clifford DeVoe. Now this is the mechanic, his wife.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they're just all like, "Oh, what are you doing here?"
Right.
And they were basically ready for this, like because they've been spying on Star Labs through that. Remember that Samuroid helmet?
Right.
So they're keeping tabs. So they're like, okay, they're coming for us. Okay, let's just put on an act. Apparently.
Right. And then Clifford, who doesn't have the little helmet on anymore.
Yeah.
Weird face. Now he looks human.
Right.
With like curly hair and everything. Comes out and he's in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Of course, he's innocent if he's in a wheelchair.
Right. And apparently we've completely forgotten The Flash season 1.
Right.
Where, hey, we thought that Harrison Wells was all nice and innocent because, hey, he couldn't be anybody because he's in a wheelchair.
Right. And thus my C storyline.
Yep.
Wells in a wheelchair too, ...
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. But apparently they're just, the thinker and the mechanic are throwing everybody off the scent.
Right. So dumb.
Yeah.
But there is that seed of doubt because they had to narrow it down, and they're not quite sure it's the right DeVoe.
Well, to be fair, it's only episode 6 of a 23 episode season, so we kind of have to draw this out. Apparently,
right?
Yeah.
Not the big bad for the crossover.
No.
That's Malice. So he is not going to be involved in that crossover. So he doesn't need
Malice is the big bag because I thought they were dealing with Crisis on Earth X.
Oh, yeah, but Malice
Malice is for when Constantine shows up on Legends of Tomorrow.
Doesn't he have something to do with it?
Nope, doesn't have anything to do with the Crisis on Earth X crossover, to my knowledge. This is where they essentially go to Earth X, which is they get an invasion from Earth X, which is the Earth where the superheroes are Nazis.
Yeah.
So,
okay. We'll talk about
they're Nazi supervillains.
All right, so Malice is okay.
So we're gonna get like Nazi Supergirl, who's named Ubergirl or something like that.
Overgirl.
Obergirl, yes, something like that. So
Okay. Yeah. Malice is the overarching
yes,
dude on Legends of Tomorrow.
right.
Okay.
Got it.
Yeah.
It's a little confusing, I know, because of these shows cross over so
I
much.
know why I thought that, and we'll talk about it in a minute.
Yeah. We'll get into that in our part B.
Part B.
2. Yeah.
Okay, so is there anything I missed?
I don't think so.
All right. So I give it 8.5 ratas, and that is from Demolition Man.
Okay.
Where they're eating the rats in the underground.
Oh.
Rat that the Mad Max
Oh, okay.
Harrison Wells was eating.
Got it. Okay.
Remember that?
Got
Demolition
it.
Man,
Yeah.
when they were eating rats.
Yeah, with well, Demolition Man and Mad Max are two different things, but
I know. But
okay.
Demolition Man, when they went in the underground, Dennis Leary was the king of the underground. And
that's right. Yeah, it's been a while since I've watched Demolition Man.
Yeah.
The Sylvester Stallone movie.
They were like Spanish speakers that were serving the rats.
Got it.
And they told him, what is this? And they said, ratas. Like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got it. Now, I thought this episode was a little and again, because we had a villain that was a little, I don't know about this.
Right.
So I give this one 8 creepy balloon animals, and balloon is in quotes, because
why would you pick that out?
Yes.
Gross.
Yeah. So that was just a little bit awkward, and hopefully we'll do better next week.
I gave it 8.5, and let me tell you why. Because I think that they're developing Ralph Dibny well.
Yeah. Now he's gotten some. They're they're frustrating a lot of fans because Ralph is being portrayed as this sexist pig at times, and I know that's the writers, but he's not like that in the comics, and
right?
Because they've basically tried to give Ralph Plastic Man's personality,
right?
And as a result, it's kind of frustrating. But hopefully, now that we've had this scene where Ralph is kind of understanding more about, like, okay, it's about saving the innocent.
Right.
Hopefully that will shift him away from this, unsavory sexism.
I hope so.
So let's get rid of that. Let's just
they are developing him a little bit. So
yeah. So hopefully that will quickly become a thing of the past because it needs to be.
Right.
So I don't want to see creepy elongated man.
Right. Me too.
All right. So I think that about does it for part A. Finally.
That's right. So if you want to talk to us on Twitter, we are Fandom Zonecast. Facebook, we are facebook.com/Fandom Zone Podcast. Email is fandomzonecast@gmail.com. Listen and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts. I am at Aliveria or at Ali's_stuff. And in my bio is a link to my blog, at which you can find all my other links. And you are?
Of course, at Charles Skaggs on the Instagram, at Charles Skaggs on the Twitter machine, Google Plus for all you crazy kids in the Google Plus, Facebook, of course, at Charles Skaggs, and my blog of geek things.
Damn good coffee and hot.
There you go.
Damn Good Coffee and Hot, where I talk about all the comic book shows that we talk about here on the Fandom Zone podcast and more. And as well as my other 2 podcasts that I do for Southgate Media Group, Next Stop Everywhere, where we talk about Doctor Who, and Ghostwood, the Twin Peaks podcast, where obviously we talk about Twin Peaks. So please check me out there if you're not doing so, because that would be awesome.
Cool. All right. And we will be back for part 2 of episode 122.
All right. Bye, everybody. Oh my God, they killed Kenny!
You bastards!
You bastards!